News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the Iran war will not end until the enemy is defeated, but he says it will end.
This is not endless. It's not protracted. We're not allowing mission creep. The president has set a very specific mission to accomplish, and our job is to unrelentingly deliver that. Now, he gets to control the throttle.
Hegseth spoke at a Pentagon briefing. Now, for now, the U.S. and Israel remain aligned on crippling Iran's ability to threaten Israel and its neighbors. But differences may grow more stark if the war does drag on. A person familiar with Israeli policy tells Bloomberg that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is far more likely to favor a drawn-out campaign than President Trump. Former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett told Bloomberg TV that the objective of current efforts is to neutralize Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile capabilities by, metaphorically, cutting off the head of the octopus.
The goal is to turn Iran from a nuclear and ballistic missile threat into just a regular country that stops threatening its neighbors.
Former Israeli Prime Minister Bennett tells Bloomberg TV the U.S. and Israel have worked in recent days to degrade Iran's capabilities, but stressed the need to ensure the change is permanent and that Iran does not resume nuclear development. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has questions about the U.S. and Israeli strategy with each passing day of the conflict.
The United States and Israel have been waging war against Iran for over a week. We share many of these aims, but more questions arise with every day of war. Above all, we're concerned that there is apparently no joint plan for how this war can be brought quickly to a convincing end.
Merz says in the meantime, the rest of the world is seeing what he described as a dangerous escalation. Global shipping is feeling the immediate impact of the war in Iran. Traffic through the Strait of Hormuz is stopped. Hundreds of ships are stacking up, including oil and LNG tankers, in and around the key waterway. In an exclusive interview, CEO of V Group, Renee Kofod-Olsen, tells Bloomberg that the disruption is visible across shipping and energy markets.
There has to be found a solution for safe passage. There has to be found a solution for security going through. The strait is narrow. You have 2 lanes in and 2 lanes out. So we are waiting for a solution.
V Group CEO Renee Kofod-Olsen on Bloomberg TV. Veteran strategist Ed Yardeni has updated his outlook for what he describes as fast-moving times. He raised the possibility of a market meltdown to 35% for the rest of this year and slashed the odds of a melt-up to 5%. He says the war in Iran has stocks facing a growing risk of a sharp sell-off.
In the short term, we clearly have an issue with the Strait of Hormuz. It's hard to get optimistic here unless we see some tankers actually going through there without any incident. I know the president sounds like he wants to declare victory here pretty shortly, but I think Iran lost the war. They just don't really know it.
Ed Yardeni is founder of Yardeni Research. He was on Bloomberg Surveillance. The U.S. economy and stock market are stuck between the increasing risk of higher inflation and rising unemployment, with the Fed's dual mandate being challenged by the oil shock. Stocks gained as G7 finance ministers meet again today to prepare scenarios for the release of emergency oil stockpiles. The G7 wants to be ready to deploy oil reserves if needed and tasked the International Energy Agency with studying the volumes that could be released. Crude tumbled about 10% on hopes the world's largest economies will deploy those stockpiles. We check the markets for you all day long here at Bloomberg. The S&P 500 down 0.3%. NASDAQ down about 0.6%. The Dow down around 0.5%. The 10-year Treasury yield at 4.1%. The 2-year yield at 3.55%. Checking NYMEX crude oil now, it's down 10%, and Brent crude down 9.75%. Amazon shares are little changed as that company aims for about $37 billion to $42 billion in a cross-Atlantic offering in both dollars and euros. Amazon's sale is the latest in a series of jumbo note offerings by hyperscalers as they plan to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in AI infrastructure. Bill Ackman is returning to the IPO market with a combined offering for his hedge fund manager and a new closed-end fund, Pershing Square USA Ltd. Ackman is looking to raise between $5 billion and $10 billion for Pershing Square USA in the combined deal. A New York federal judge ordered a group of states to engage in settlement talks with Live Nation to potentially resolve claims that the company illegally monopolized the live event industry. The Justice Department reached a settlement with Live Nation to resolve the antitrust suit. Now they have to figure out the lawsuits with a couple dozen states. If they can't reach a deal, a jury trial may continue next week. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Amy Morris, and this is Bloomberg.